Okay, good morning children. Today I am going to discuss the chemical properties of acids and bases. The few properties which I am going to discuss. Okay. Let's see what happened when metals react with acid. Okay, we are going to treat any metal with acid. Let's see what happened. Suppose the zinc metal you have taken, and in zinc metal suppose you added the hydrochloric acid or you added a sulfuric acid, whatever. Suppose I am adding dilute sulfuric acid. Now when metals going to react with any acid, we have a salt plus hydrogen gas. Fine. Now we have to write the physical state as you learn in your first chapter. The physical state of zinc is solid, H2SO4 in the form of solution, so I can write aqueous. This zinc sulfate, once it forms, it remains soluble in water, so I can write aqueous, and hydrogen is a gas and we put upward arrow. Now children, mostly metals, when they are going to react with any acid, 100% the hydrogen gas will come out, except the metals, those who are the least reactive metals like copper, silver, gold, platinum, etc. Except these metals, mostly all metals, when you are treating them with acid, they give me a salt plus hydrogen gas. Now let's see what is the inside story of this reaction. Actually in this reaction, the zinc metal is going to lose electrons. And I think you all know very well, when any substance losing electrons, this is called oxidation. So you can say here the zinc metal is undergoing oxidation. Now here you may be asked, why there is only 2 electron lost? Because the valency of the zinc metal is 2. Okay, and this is the process in which any substance, maybe atom, ion, molecule, losing electrons. This is actually called oxidation. Fine. Now you also know that acids are the substances those who gives me H plus ions. So H2SO4 gives me H plus ions. These 2 H plus ions capture electron and hydrogen gas liberated. This is reduction. Okay, and I think in the first chapter you studied when oxidation and reduction take place simultaneously, such reactions are called redox reaction. So this is a redox reaction, as well as you can say here metal is going to displace hydrogen from an acid. So you can call it the displacement reaction also. Basically, zinc is undergoing oxidation. Now acids, I think you studied earlier in the previous lectures. Acids are those substances when you dissolve them in a water, they gives me H plus ions. Now these H plus ions capture electron, hydrogen gas liberated. So all metal except the metals, those who are least reactive. Now the mostly metals except the least reactive metals, when they react with acid, they produce hydrogen gas and salt is formed. Okay. Now let's see what happened when the bases are going to react. Okay. Suppose we are treating aluminium metal with NaOH. Now first of all, when the metals are going to react with any base, okay, first thing, little bit heating is required. If you have seen earlier, metals simply dropped in acid, hydrogen gas coming out. And there are only few metals, those who are capable to react with alkalis, or you can call it base. I think you all know that. Water soluble bases are called alkalis. So we can say all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. So there are few metals, those who are capable to react with alkali, to produce hydrogen gas. But remember, heating is required. Let's see what is the product. Okay, this is the product I got. Now here I am going to introduce a new ion. This is aluminate ion. I think in the class 9th I have given you the list of ions. Now you can add one more ion in your list, and this ion is called aluminate ion. That's why the name of the salt is sodium aluminate. Okay, is this reaction balanced? Let's check. One aluminium, one sodium, one sodium. But here you can see there are two oxygens, there is only one oxygen. Here are two hydrogen, here only one hydrogen. So let I add the water molecule this side. Now the hydrogen will become 2 and 1, 3. But this side I have only 2, so I put it here 3. But once I put it 3, it becomes 6. Okay, let I divide by 2. Now I think my equation is balanced. 2 hydrogen, okay, 2 and 1, 3 hydrogen. This 2 cancel, 3 hydrogen, 1 sodium, and there are 2 oxygen, okay. Now if you are finding this 3 by 2 is looking odd, then you can multiply the whole equation by 2. So here again you can see that aluminium metal react with alkali, but there are two things, heating is required. Okay, and this is not true for all metals. I can give you one more example, one more metal, beryllium. Beryllium is also capable to react with alkali. Let's see what happened. Now here I got a product Na2BeO2 plus hydrogen gas. Now here I am introducing one new ion, BeO2 2 minus. This is berylate ion. So the name of the compound is sodium berylate. So today you learn the two new ions. One is the aluminate ion, the valence is 1 minus. One more ion, the berylate ion, and the valence is 2. Let again check this reaction, this equation balanced or not. There are 2 sodium, but here is only 1, so I put it here 2. 1 beryllium, 2 hydrogen, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. Okay, the equation is balanced. The physical state, solid, aqueous, it remains soluble, aqueous, hydrogen is a gas coming out. But remember, this is not true for all metals. Few metals, those who are capable to react with alkali to produce hydrogen gas. Same way you can try a reaction of zinc with NaOH. Okay, let's see what happens when the acids, they are going to react with base. I think, suppose I have taken acid HCl, it's aqueous solution. Now I am going to treat with NaOH, which is alkali, base, whatever you can say. Fine, this time I am mixing acid in base or the base in acid, whatever. Fine. Now acids are substances, when they dissolve them in the water, they give me H plus ions. Okay, so HCl is going to break down and give me H plus and Cl minus. Now one more thing which I want to convey here. Substances, there are few substances, there are some substances, when you dissolve them in a water, they produce ions. Okay, and such kind of substances, they are called electrolytes. Fine. Again I make you clear. Substances whom you dissolve them in the water, and if they produces ions, we call them electrolytes. Now the question is that how we can decide the given substance is electrolyte or non-electrolyte. Later I will explain. So acid, okay, HCl is acid, but at the same time I can say that HCl is electrolyte also. Now the NaOH is also going to dissociate, Na plus and OH minus. So now can I say that NaOH is also electrolyte? Substances, when you dissolve them in the water, they produce ions. Fine. So acids gives me H plus ions, bases gives me OH minus ion. They are giving me the different ions, but I think one thing is common between them, that they both are electrolytes, because ultimately they are giving me ions. Okay, they are producing the different ions, that is true. Acid gives me H plus ions, bases gives me OH minus ions, but I think one thing is common, that they both are electrolytes. Okay. Okay, so this time suppose I am adding HCl in NaOH. HCl is electrolyte, dissociates and gives me H plus and Cl minus ion. NaOH is also electrolytes, give me Na plus and OH minus ion. Now H plus is going to combine with OH minus and it forms water. Na plus react with Cl, it give me NaCl. It means acid neutralizes by the base and the base neutralizes by the acid. And that's why when the people, they are suffering from the problem of acidity. I think you all know acidity is a kind of problem when your stomach more amount of acid secrete, and that's why you have a burning sensation in the stomach. So definitely to neutralize that acid, we are using a base, because acid is neutralized by base and base neutralized by acid. So for acidity, this is the only one thing, the one property we are using, that acid neutralized by base. So by this example, what we learn? Acid neutralized by base and the base neutralized by acid, and we have a salt and water. Okay, now I am writing something else. CaO plus HCl gives me CaCl2 plus H2O. Okay. Now HCl is acid, no question about it. CaCl2 is a salt. At the same time, CaCl2 is also electrolyte. HCl is acid. Now this is acid, this is salt, this is water. So definitely this is a base. So by these examples, what we learn here? Calcium is a metal. So can I say that metal oxides, they are basic in nature? You can see this is acid, this is salt, this is water. So CaO is serving as a base. You can take one more example. Suppose Na2O, sodium oxide. It is oxide of a metal, sodium. Plus, suppose I am treating with H2SO4. I got a salt, Na2SO4 plus H2O. Now again you can see salt, water, acid. So here it is base. So by these examples, what we learn, that metal oxides, they are basic in nature. Okay, there are few metal oxides, they are showing acidic nature as well as basic nature. We call them amphoteric oxides. Generally, metal oxides, they are basic in nature. But there are some metal oxides, they are capable to react with acid as well as base. And that's why we call them amphoteric metal oxide. I give one example. Al2O3, that is the oxide of aluminium. I am treating with acid HCl. Let's see what form. AlCl3 plus H2O. Water, salt, acid. So he is working as a base. Is it balanced? No. How many aluminium? 2. So I put it here 2. Once I write here 2, the chlorine will be 3 2 is 6. Okay, chlorine will be 6. How many oxygen atoms? 3. So I put it here 3. Now hydrogen 6, 3 2 is 6. Now you can see here Al2O3 reacts with acid, give me a salt and water. So Al2O3 is serving as a base. Okay. Al2O3, suppose I am treating with NaOH. Now here I got a salt, that is again sodium aluminate plus water. Fine. And this is the task for you. Balance it and later send me the copy of this. Okay. So now you can see here Al2O3 react with acid to give me a salt and water. Al2O3 reacts with base, give me a salt and water. So Al2O3 is capable to work as an acidic nature as well as the basic nature. Such metal oxides, they are called amphoteric in nature. Okay, I think you all know that carbon is a non-metal. Suppose I am taking CO2. Now I am treating with base NaOH. Now here I got a salt Na2CO3 plus H2O. See here, this is base, salt, water. So CO2 is working as acid. So on the basis of this reaction, I can say that oxides of the non-metals, they are acidic in nature. Okay, is this balanced? No. How many sodium are here? 2. I put it here 2. Now count carbon. 1 carbon, 1 carbon. Okay, 2 and 2, 4 oxygen. 3 and 1, 4. 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen. So finally we conclude that oxides of the non-metals, carbon is a non-metal. So definitely its oxide is acidic nature. Recently I told you that oxides of the metals are basic in nature, while at the same time the oxides of the non-metals, they are acidic in nature. There is no case of any amphoteric, okay? There are some non-metal oxides which are neutral. For example, H2O is neutral, okay, hydrogen is a non-metal. NO is neutral, carbon monoxide is neutral. These are some neutral oxides. So metal oxides are basic in nature, non-metal oxides, they are acidic in nature. Let's see what happened when the when the acids are going to react with metal carbonates and bicarbonates. Let's see what happened when the metal carbonates or bicarbonates are going to react with acid. Suppose I am taking HCl and I am treating with sodium carbonate. Okay, now sodium carbonate. This is actually a salt, and as you all know very well, the salt consists of the two parts. One is a metal oxide, other one is a non-metal oxide. So you can say the salts, they are the actually combination of metal oxides, their nature is basic. Non-metal oxides, their nature are acidic. Acid and base react, they neutralize, and I have a salt. Let's see how we can remember this reaction. Na2CO3 in the form of solution I am treating with HCl, or even I can drop a HCl in Na2CO3, there is no problem. Na2CO3 is basically combination of what? Na2O plus CO2. Now HCl is acid, so definitely acid is going to react with base. There is no impact on CO2. So what the product? Now this is base, this is acid. I have a salt, water, and the CO2 will escape out. So when metal carbonates are going to react with acid, now you can see there is evolution of CO2 gas. But the problem is that when the CO2 gas is coming out, the gas will not say, hi, I am CO2. So the question is that how we can recognize the gas is CO2 gas. It's very simple. CO2 gas, first of all, CO2 gas is odorless, colorless. But we can recognize by passing this carbon dioxide gas through the lime water. Now, when you are passing carbon dioxide gas through the solution of calcium hydroxide, I have a calcium carbonate plus H2O. Now this calcium carbonate is make a white precipitate. So when the CO2 gas pass through the lime water, there is a white turbidity will appear which confirms the gas is CO2. Achha, one more thing, this is not balanced. There are two sodium, so I have to put it here 2. Okay, once I put it here 2, fluorine become 2, so I have to write here 2. Okay, and the CO2 gas can be recognized The CO2 gas, when you are passing through the lime water is calcium hydroxide. Actually, this lime water is a combination of CaO plus CO2. Sorry, CaO plus H2O. Actually, this is a combination of CaO plus H2O. Now, CaO, it is oxide of metal. Nature is basic. CO2 is oxide of a non-metal. Nature is acidic. So acidic react with base, I got a salt and water is out. So CO2 gas can be recognized by passing through the lime water. It turns the lime water milky. Now one more thing. If the CO2 gas you pass for a prolonged time, now you can see the turbidity will disappear because it forms calcium bicarbonate and it is remains soluble. So initially when you pass a CO2 gas, you can see a white precipitate. But when you pass it for a prolonged time, the turbidity disappears because it forms calcium bicarbonate. Okay. When you are passing this CO2 gas through the lime water, I think I told you the calcium carbonate and water is going to form. Fine. And this is the concept we use during the time of the whitewash. The people actually applying the calcium hydroxide, the form solution on the walls. Now they absorb the CO2 from the atmosphere and CaCO3 is formed. Okay. Now let's see what happened when the acid going to react with bicarbonates. Suppose HCl, I am treating with sodium bicarbonate. Okay, again the same thing is there. I got a salt plus water and along with CO2 gas. So actually the carbonates or maybe bicarbonates, when you are treating them with acid, you can see there is a brisk effervescence. And this brisk effervescence is due to the formation of CO2 gas. This is the same concept is used in the baking powder. Now your baking powder consists of the two things. One is NaHCO3 along with the tartaric acid. When NaHCO3 was heated, it is also decomposed to give me the CO2 gas. And this CO2 gas make your dough fluffy. Okay, this is the logic behind it. Okay, I think this is already balanced. So this is about the reaction of acids with carbonates and bicarbonates. There is no impact of alkalis over the carbonates and bicarbonates.